Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Adventure Starts Here podcast. This week, we played Dead Estate, a roguelite game in the vein of Binding of Isaac. Please be wary of spoilers as we discuss each route of the game, including the true ending and awakening routes. This was a shorter episode, and I hope you enjoy our discussion. For this week, we played Dead Estate. Jordan, would you like to give a quick intro?
Yeah, this game is kind of like a Binding of Isaac-like roguelike game where you're trying to progress through a zombie-filled estate to get to the top and get the fuck out. And it's got Big Titty Lady.
It does have Big Titty Lady. Question I wanted to pose to you guys to start us off is if you were stuck on a deserted island, which playable character would you want to be there with you? And for me personally, I mean, listen, the obvious pick is going to be Cordelia, but I'm not going to say Cordelia. She'd probably be useless depending on the level of her magic. I think I would want to be there with Fuji because I could just like point her at a tree and she punches the tree, and now I have like 5 coconuts.
I wouldn't pick her because she can't use any guns. Fucking trash character.
She's the most OP character. What are you talking about?
Wait, really? I fucking hated her because she had to be close to the enemies.
Yeah, that's because she fucked him up and she starts with 8 health. She was what I beat all of the game with.
I don't know. For me, she was the first character I used when I tried like the new stages, and those stages introduced me to like all these new enemies that like left puddles on the floor and other stuff like that. That just pissed me off when I had to get close to them.
Yeah, who cares about puddles on the floor when the whole screen is dead, though? And I have so many items that I just don't run out of health anyway.
Yeah, I feel like I played a different game than you guys. Not to get too off topic, but I only completed the first homework assignment of beating the game with the first 3 characters. Whereas when I read what you guys were typing in Discord, it felt like you guys played a different game than me because y'all were on some like Slay to Spire infinite scaling shit, and I'm just playing with some basic bitch builds with like I was so excited when I finally broke like 1 row of items.
Yeah, I think I would have regretted it if I didn't go all the way through to the awakening ending. I feel like I would have missed out on like 75% of this game, like quite literally, actually.
I think, the big thing for me just about the awakening ending was like the experience of like just the final boss, I think was like so much better than like everything else in the entire game.
I do agree with that.
Yeah, but to go back to your question, boss would be the character I'd rely on to survive on that island.
Should be blowing everything up.
Yeah.
I'd pick Moomba because I feel like it would hunt everything.
I think I'll still pick Cordelia because she's a witch and she has big titties.
Yeah, she could.
Yeah, I mean, like,
she could get you that milk.
I mean, I guess technically Cordelia could just fly you off if like she comes with her broom. I guess that's kind of just an instant win, but yeah, she does also have big titties, so.
Yeah, I feel like you have to disqualify her because magic's kind of just bullshit in general.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think I played this game. I want to say I played it on launch, like when it, or at least like maybe a month after it came out, before any of the updates came out. And so I wrote a little bit in there about like just how much content they added to this game since launch. It's been what, like 4 or 5 years since it came out, something like that.
A little over 4, yeah.
4 years, yeah. And there has been so much added to this game, and I think that everything that was added is really good. And I have a really hard time imagining enjoying this game without those things that was added, which kind of explains why I only had 3.5 hours of playtime when I bought it on launch.
Yeah.
Yeah, if this game only went up to what was like the ending at launch? Was it the true ending?
Wait, which one's the true ending? True ending is with
Devolia or whatever. Yeah.
What do you have to do to get that? I'm trying to remember.
Get the coffin key.
Yeah, you have to get the coffin key.
Routes.
Go through all the 4 subfloors.
I don't remember that being in the game, but I don't remember seeing anything in patch notes about it. I'm going to say that it wasn't in there, and I can fact check that later, but I don't think that that was in the game. I think it was literally just up to chunks and like that was it.
Yeah, damn, that's like nothing.
I would assume Ebola was in the game just because of kind of how the game plays, and I don't think this was an early access game, so I think it'd be weird if it just ended at chunks because that'd be very unsatisfying. But
yeah.
Regardless, I think with what they added with the Awakening ending is insane. Like that could have been a whole like paid for expansion, and the fact that it's a free update is fucking bonkers.
Yeah,
So real
it's a
quick,
lot.
I don't mind getting spoiled. What exactly is that? I see the words, but that's about it. I don't know anything about it of the Awakening ending.
It's
Did you ever
basically an
find-
entire new set of levels. Like
Did you ever find those ZZZ rooms?
Yeah, but I didn't know what to do in them.
It's the ending that's associated with those. Like you have to go through, you have to get the true ending, and then you have to go back and you have to beat one of the subfloors that the true ending unlocks, and then you go back to the ZZZ room, and it gives you basically a whole new set of 4 floors with like a Omega boss at the end.
Yeah. New
Oh.
enemies, new bosses,
Okay.
like new areas.
Yeah, it's like a whole new subset of the game basically.
And what is the true ending then? Because I got up to Cordelia's ending basically, and I assume that's not the true ending.
No, true ending, you need to do all the subfloors that unlock, and then you create a key, and then you unlock the coffin at the top right before that you've seen. You know, like when you're walking to Dead Estate, you see that coffin, you unlock that coffin, and that allows you to go into the exit realm, and I think you save your dad.
Damn, it feels like I really did miss out on like the whole fucking game.
You still got like the general gist, right? Like I think
Yeah,
when you
the
stopped
gameplay
is fine.
loop.
That's
Yeah.
why like I wasn't like, oh, you need to also get the true ending. That should be like, because I was like that. I didn't feel like I really was like, holy shit. But the Awakening ending, I was like, holy shit, this is like integral to the experience of the game. But the true ending, I don't think you missed out on much.
Yeah, I mean,
Gotcha.
like technically, like outside of just a new variety of enemies, it isn't really technically adding anything to the gameplay. And in terms of narrative, all it's really adding is like basically what I understand is just a teaser for their next game.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm really glad I did go through and play the Awakening ending because I'm with Jordan. I think if you just did like the first 3 characters, I think you got enough of an idea of like the game and what the game is, and going through the hoops of the true ending. You would have seen a few new bosses, but honestly, most of them are just kind of annoying. But yeah, the Awakening ending adds enough that it's definitely like substantive and pretty awesome.
Oh, that's good to know.
When it comes to discussing whether or not you should do the Awakening ending, a lot of it comes down to like some of the gameplay elements for me, because I was glad that I did the Awakening ending. Actually, I wasn't sure that I was going to do it by today. I actually managed to do it while I was at work today, because I was just struggling with it a lot last night. But my feeling after I got the Awakening ending is that I just like I don't feel the need to play the game again. Like, I don't know about you guys, but none of the characters felt that unique to me in terms of what could be a late game build. Like all of the early game stuff, obviously, yeah, the character choices is going to have the most impact there, but I don't see how you're going to have like crazy huge different builds once you're just collecting, like Thomas said, 20 items every floor.
Yeah, I'd say that's actually my biggest criticism of the game is that like the play patterns for every character, other than maybe Fuji, since she is bound to the like melee shit, they all do feel kind of samey, and they all sort of converge on the same point very quickly because like I felt like if you got to the first balcony, like you were done. Like the run was over. It was just a matter of sinking enough time into actually doing it, and that's just a function of how insanely strong gold is and how insanely strong doing just all the subfloors every run is to get to the cultist shops, and just buying out every cultist shop and just maximizing your gold every single run. And so by like the end of that like first run through, when you start your first loop, it's just like you're already pretty much gonna be overpowered as fuck, and so every character just sort of ends up playing the same. Like even
Yeah.
like Lydia's mechanic was really cool, but who gives a fuck when I find a diamond shotgun and I have 100,000 gold?
Yeah, I think what you're saying is true for normal, but there's painful, and then if you beat painful, there's nightmare, and if you beat nightmare, there's like don't hurt me, daddy, or like what some Doom reference difficulty. So I think that's true for normal. I think normal's like unlosable basically, but I think the harder difficulties get like insane.
Yeah, I did my Awakening ending playthrough on painful just because I was just getting really bored. Like every run that I was playing on normal was just like literally doing infinite loops until I just got bored and wanted to end the run. So the last one I did was painful, and it still felt sort of samey. Like I was much more threatened for sure, but it was still kind of followed that same pattern of, did I make it to the balcony? Yes. Okay, I win.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think the game's not Isaac in the sense of like how crazy builds get. It's because it's kind of a little lame that like there's a focus on weapons, and like typically I didn't give a shit about the weapons, and the other focus is just like, hey, what item says give me more damage or gives me more HP. Like there's nothing that like does crazy shit like in Isaac where like it completely changes something when you pick something up.
Yeah.
I don't know if I think that's definitely true for the vast majority. I feel like the biggest gameplay change one is the one that made me care about the sub weapons even a little bit, which is super glue, the one that makes your sub weapon your main weapon. I thought that was really, really fun when you managed to make it work.
Yeah, I feel like the problem with the secondary weapons is just that, like, by and large, until you get to that point where you've got like a bajillion items, ammo actually feels really limiting. So you don't really want to like spend too much of like your time trying to gravitate around a certain secondary weapon because they're so like temporary.
Yeah, I feel like the broader issue with that from like a systematic perspective might be that uh most of the good builds, like when your build is really popping off, you just have a shitload of firing speed. Like your attack rate is just really, really high. And if you have that and a weapon with limited ammo, you're just gonna chew through it fucking instantaneously.
There's an item that gives you that like regenerates ammo on damage. Like there's ways around that. And like you're gonna up like ammo drops and things like that. It's just not systems that, at least on the difficulties that I played, you really need to interface with. I don't know what X must die looks like, but I imagine that difficulty's fucked up.
Yeah, like the most broken build I got by far was with Lydia and the diamond shotgun. I kind of already mentioned it, where I had basically infinite ammo and a shit ton of things that like basically just said enemies drop more gold, which obviously combos with the shotgun, and then um, all of the items that say like your damage will scale with the amount of gold that you have. So I was literally running around with 1,000,000 gold, just clicking once when I entered a room and everything died. Uh, but outside of that, that was like the only time that a secondary weapon felt like super, super impactful. They were like really helpful. Like their DPS was generally higher, so like in the early stage of the game they were really good for like murdering early bosses, but by the time that you're getting like a broken build, you just want to sit there left clicking with your default weapon, at least in my experience.
My experience was pretty similar. I didn't use them on the bosses usually, but I used them in those like those defense rooms, those shield rooms. I don't know what they're called, but it's the one where you like have to you get like 40 seconds to kind of kill a gauntlet to get an item, and that's when I primarily used the secondary weapons. But outside of that, until I got a run with super glue, like Seth mentioned, I didn't really use them at all.
Yeah, I will say though that like the variety in the secondary weapons is pretty cool. Like a lot of them feel very unique and very fun and very cool. Like I like the one that just like drops a block from the sky because it kills like some of the most annoying enemies in the entire game, like those floating blocks in the laboratory, I think it is. And just a lot of the secondary weapons I think were really cool design. It was just kind of like I didn't really feel super incentivized to use them as much as I would have liked.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the Gungeon part of the game.
And it also drove me crazy that there was no like confirmation if I wanted to like switch it out, or if I accidentally picked up a new one I couldn't switch back to the old one. That was really fucking annoying.
Also, just missing a prompt to pick up items in general, because as you mentioned in Discord, the fucking toilet paper made me like almost uninstall the game because I was just trying to beat the game with Jules, and I would just accidentally pick up a toilet paper, and I would just be like, "God damn it!"
Yep. I mean, that's like the worst gameplay design part of the game, in my opinion, by a mile, are like the lock your HP to X items. I think that those are terrible by design.
Yeah, there should be a confirmation when you pick them up.
Yeah, I don't think them being in the game by default is a bad thing. Like I was going to mention, one of the things I love in this game is the commitment to the kiss curse aspect of weapons, which I just love in most games, most roguelikes that do it. But yeah, like when you're just zooming through and you have a build that's working, to have that build ruined because you accidentally
Yeah.
didn't stop for half a second to pick up a toilet paper, that fucking sucks.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't agree. I think lock your HP to X is shit design. I think reduce your HP to 1 and then you can build it back up is fine, but locking it to like a number, like the Deadeye item, which doubles your fire speed and attack damage but lowers your HP to 1, that's like a game losing item. You can never pick that item up and like win unless you just have an insane build with the item that blocks projectile, that your shots block projectiles. Like you're going to lose the run no matter how strong you are.
Yeah, the only thing that makes that item viable, I think, is the one that if your HP gets reduced to 0, it just drains gold, and you have like just an absolute fucking fuckload of gold. But otherwise, yeah, like running around at like 1,000,000 miles per hour, like especially if you're playing like the build that I was with Lydia, because like when Lydia, like just FYI, if you don't know, like once you reach a certain threshold, because her gold is constantly getting drained. Like her mechanic is every second you're losing a gold, but she gains more gold. And so to compensate for that, basically every time you reach a certain threshold of gold, like you make, let's say 600 gold, it'll drop an item. And so in that build I was talking about, where like I just had the diamond shotgun, walk in a room, click, and I would gain literally 5,000 gold, and it would drop like 3 items at a time.
Oh my god.
I would just have to like fucking sit there for like 5 seconds, like, okay, is Deadeye here? Is there a toilet paper here? No? Okay, let's rock. And it was just so tedious, and that's why eventually I just said, okay, fuck this run, I'm done. Because not having a confirmation or not having some like safeguard against picking up something that will just literally obliterate your run when you're just kind of like fucking vibing, murdering every floor in half a second is really stupid. I will say though, that's like probably like the majority of what I would dunk on this game for, because this game actually was fun as fuck.
Yeah, I think when you just boil it down to the gameplay, it is really good. Like it's pretty tight. Like it's not super complex what you're doing, but what you are doing is pretty consistently fun. Like there are a couple misses here and there. Yeah, I wish it was a little bit. I mean, I know there's multiple difficulties, but like I wish it was a little bit more challenging at times. Like I wish the top end builds were a little bit more diverse, but it's still fun to do those at least for like that single time where you go for the awakening ending.
Yeah, I think the gameplay of this game, I don't think it lives up to either Isaac or Gungeon, which is like just clearly the two games that this game is trying to like pull most of its inspiration from. I just think that those two games have way better like gameplay, build diversity. Like Gungeon has way better guns than this game does, and Isaac has way better like top end builds and ways to build yourself up, and like way better trade offs and stuff with like devil deals and everything. But I think despite that, I think this game is still great and kind of like stands alone from those little games, those other two games a little bit, even though I think it's derivative and doesn't improve upon, but I think it improves upon in like other ways.
So here's my response to that, is that I actually like this game a lot more than Isaac, because I actually don't like Binding of Isaac like at all. And the reason for that is that game, and maybe this would be alleviated if I had like played it more over the years, but like the first time I tried to play that game was like co-op with Cole like 3 or 4 years ago. And trying to just like jump into that game, especially a co-op run with someone who's played it a lot, is just miserable. Like there's a huge burden of knowledge with all of the shit that's in that game, where like I have no idea what does what, and it's got that kind of like same sort of feeling that something like Risk of Rain has, where like, okay, I see the icon for this item, but I don't know what it is, and the game doesn't tell me, so I don't know if I even want to pick it up. I don't know what it does, and that shit drives me fucking crazy. And Binding of Isaac is like a fucking like main offender of that, like number one. So that game actually drives me crazy. And I feel like this game kind of struck a happy balance where, like, yeah, there was like some stuff that would fuck you over if you didn't know what you were doing, but by and large the game sort of like wears itself on its sleeve. Like it's going to tell you what's going to happen, and like that just made it a much more enjoyable experience to me, because I didn't have to spend like the first 15 hours of this game just learning what all the items do.
Yeah, so when you talk about like all those games that are similar to this one, specifically Isaac and Gungeon, I think I'd put Gungeon above both of those, because like there's just something about the level design in Gungeon where it's still like procedurally generated, but it feels like a little more dynamic in like the level structure where it isn't just literally squares and rectangles connected by hallways. It's close to that, but like there's a little bit more like dynamicism. I don't even know if that's a word, but it feels like a tiny bit more handcrafted. Although I don't think that's what these like Dead Estate and Isaac are going for, but I just feel like just squares and rectangles are a little boring when it comes to like the level design.
Sure. Yeah, I don't think there's a right answer between which one you like between the three. I just think that those two are a lot more have a lot more depth to them than Dead Estate does. I think kind of like what Tom said, Dead Estate has going for it in that it's really easy to get into a run, but you sacrifice like the top end of the game when you have a game like this compared to Isaac, where like Isaac runs are insane. Like getting two of the same runs of Isaac is like impossible compared to this game where every run feels the same.
Yeah.
I agree with that, and I think that's kind of why I prefer this game over Gungeon. I haven't played Isaac, but yeah, I never got super into Gungeon. Other than the aesthetic and like the theme of Gungeon, I think is like phenomenal. Like just theming everything around Bullet is pretty cool in that game, and they get really creative with it. But I think one of the reasons I prefer this game over Gungeon is that, like you said, it's really easy to get into. You don't really need to think at any moment. Like you get a couple of items and you're like, oh, okay, cool. I am now instantaneously obliterating everything in every single room. This is fun. And I don't really feel like it's a game that's trying to be much more complex than that. And I think that's okay. I think that's okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that like wasn't the original game like a Congregate game? I think I read about that. I didn't research it too deeply, but it's very like Flash game coded, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what site it came from, but I know it was definitely on Newgrounds and was definitely a Flash game before it came to Steam.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought that was true for Isaac. That was true for Dead Estate too?
Yep. True for both.
Huh.
I did not know that. That's cool.
So many good games hail from Newgrounds and Congregate.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I also want to... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, just stating for the record, I've never actually played Gungeon before. I've played very little Isaac, so I'm not like the most experienced when it comes to like this brand of game.
Yeah, same. Like I've played Gungeon a little bit, probably more than this game, but I haven't played Isaac at all. I haven't even considered playing it or even buying it because I just visually discriminate against it. It
Yeah.
just looks horrendous. I
Yeah.
can't even
Agreed.
tolerate having it in front of my eyes, basically.
Fucking 100% agreed. I cannot stand the art style. Like Super Meat Boy works in spite of the art style because the rest of that game is just so fucking good. But Isaac does not do it for me. Like I can't get over that either. It's the same thing.
Yeah, and I promise I'm not saying this because of all of the extremely large titties that are in this game, but I do think that the visual style of this game is really, really, really good.
Are there really that many? I thought it was just one pair, right? It's just Cordelia.
No,
Cordelia and her
what,
mom.
dude? No!
And
Yeah, her mom.
Cordelia, her mom, the cult.
Sybil!
Pretty much any woman in this game. Sybil is the cultist, but yeah.
Oh, I don't know who Sybil is, so and that's probably like from the part of the game I didn't play.
She's one of the bosses that you fight, I think at the end of the third floor maybe, who like gives you the double middle finger and then flies away. She's also a like shopkeeper that shows up rarely.
Damn, I missed out.
Yeah, pretty much all the women. Like I think Lydia's got tits. I think Fuji's got tits. I don't know if any of the women don't. Well, Jules, I guess. I can't think of Jules's tits off the
even
top of my
Jules
head.
does, honestly.
Yeah, so just everybody.
Yeah, like Jules is in the base outfit are just kind of hard to see because she's wearing a sports bra, but like she definitely got them, and they apparently refer to them as ballistics, which is funny to me.
Yeah.
Good God.
Maybe I'm just too much of like a cultured gacha game enjoyer, but like when it comes to like the goonery spectrum, I'd probably rate this game probably like a 3 or 4 out of 10. Not that I don't
That's
appreciate
insane.
it, but like
That's crazy.
Yeah,
it's like
just,
a 7.
It is what it is. Yeah, but that's y'all
I
are like
feel
more
like-
normie coded than I am.
I feel like this game was like too over the top with the titties, honestly. Like I just found it kind of like annoying and distracting at some point. I was like, okay,
I mean-
I get it. Like you don't have to keep shoving them in my fucking face.
Well, like here's the thing to kind of bring it back to what I was saying originally is when I was saying that I like the art style of this game, I am mostly thinking of the cinematics. I think all of those are like universally really good, like really aesthetically pleasing. And I'm gonna push slightly back against what you're saying about the over the top boobies. Listen, I like being rewarded when I get into a new floor, I get to a new shop, whatever. And those titties are a reward. You got to count them as a reward.
That's not a reward if they're just there all the fucking time. It's
Yes,
just
it is.
like it's the norm.
It is when you get to a new level.
I don't know. I just thought it was just kind of like I just thought it tipped the scales from like, damn, those are some nice biddies to like this is just like really corny and like just kind of stupid, honestly.
I think it's great.
It wasn't like something where I was like, I'm gonna give this game a negative review on Steam because of this. It was just kind of like it became sort of like cringy and eye rolling more than anything.
I mean it's my universal law when it comes to every single game that we review. I like it when they commit to the thing, and they made one big titty goth girl, and they decided to like make all of their character designs committed to, aesthetically pleasing cleavage, and I can't disrespect that.
Yeah, and it's not that like I don't understand that people can find this off-putting, but I do feel like, at least from the many perspectives, especially probably from like the developer's perspective, that it was probably pretty important because if we're being honest, like the titties are probably like 90% of the reason why this game had any success.
Yeah.
That is true. That is 100% true.
It is definitionally clickbait. But I do want to kind of jump off of that and mention I remember this could just be my vibes of what I remember hearing when the game came out, but I remember a lot of people talking about the chunks mechanic, like the hurry the fuck up mechanic, being like kind of novel and cool about this game. Is it actually like novel to this game, or am I making
Not
that up?
really. I thought they just took it from
No.
Persona 3 and onwards, right? Like it's just the same thing from those games where like if you take too long in a dungeon, like a boss just chases you until you stop fucking around.
Yeah, I feel like that's a mechanic that's been in a lot of games since probably like the fucking NES.
It feels pretty novel to like roguelikes, though. I
That's
can't really think
fair.
of another roguelike that does it.
Yeah, I'm not saying the concept is unique, but the application in this genre.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I
it's
actually
kind of
didn't
weird.
mind. Oh,
I was just gonna say it's at first I didn't like it because I didn't like how it's kind of like hurrying you up, but then when you learn that you can like knock chunks out, it just takes a little bit, then it's a little bit better, and then like as you get better at the game and just navigating, like he doesn't really do anything, so you can just
Mhm.
run around him infinitely.
yeah.
So-
I
Like
mean, most of my runs I waited for him to spawn so I could get the coins.
I didn't really experience it too much because I actually played most of the game on the journalist difficulty, and it's not because the game was too hard. It's because, as you guys have already mentioned multiple times, this game isn't hard at all. I just thought that the levels took too long, so that's why I just played on journalist difficulty because it was just smaller levels.
Yeah, true. Because the
Also-
bigger difficulties just make the levels bigger. It is annoying.
I
Oh, is that
also,
real? Oh my god.
Am I crazy? But I didn't think that this mechanic was like unique to even roguelikes. Because doesn't Spelunky have something like the ghost or whatever?
You can't like kill the ghost or anything though. And Spelunky doesn't have as much of like I don't think of it as much as like exploration as like this game is. Like
I think that's
kind
crazy.
of,
I
but
feel like
that
this
game
game's
is like
very
resource
similar.
limited. Like if you don't have bombs and ropes, you can't do anything. So on top of that, it's also like, hey, fuck yourself. You need to hurry up. But you can't like kill that or anything. The thing that's chasing you in Spelunky. But yeah, there is a mechanic like that for sure.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't know. I just think of like this shit going back to games like the fucking um was it Resident Evil 2 where Mr. X is like chasing you around or whatever?
For X
It's
or
two,
whatever.
yeah, it's 2 or 3, I forget, but definitely in one
Well,
of those
three,
games.
like that was the whole point of the game too. Mr. X showed up every now and then.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just kind of thought of it as like a white noise thing because it never really felt like threatening. Like he was never like even on the higher difficulties, he was never really fast enough to catch you. Like even if you got caught in a room with him, you just do some loop de loops and he's never gonna catch you anyway. You just fucking jump over him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's maybe one miss where he could be a little bit more threatening in one way or another. But generally, I do like in basically all these kind of games, like I lump Hades in this category, where I really like mechanics that speed you along because, quite frankly, I don't feel like taking half an hour in the first level
Yeah.
pondering my decisions in a new run. So I like having mechanics. In Hades, I'm thinking of like adding a timer for your nightmare, those are always the first ones that I add, because it feels fun in these games to go fast instead of breaking every single pot in every single room. Thomas calling me out the other day. And I like it when games at least add some level of depth to like the cycle of how you should play a floor. You know what I mean?
All right, the pots take like 5 seconds to blow up in a room, and they are like the vehicle for getting OP because they drop gold.
That's fine. I have more fun not doing it. I like go fast.
Yeah.
I feel like the pots in this game kind of pissed me off because, like, and maybe this was just me being way too autistic about it, but like I tried to really make sure that I didn't break the red ones unless I needed to. So it took me forever because I was like, I literally like tried to aim my character so that the gunshots would hit specifically only the gray pots, and it just like it's definitely a self-inflicted problem for sure, but
Like,
it's still a
the
problem I
exact opposite.
experienced.
The other reason I thought Fuji is one of the most OP characters that I
You
didn't
could run into them.
Yeah, she just fucking runs into the pots. So I just went into a room and I would just fucking like dash and jump around until I broke all the pots, and then I would just fucking leave because it was like instantaneous. And then by the time I'm on the 3rd floor, I have fucking 3,000 gold and I win.
Yeah, I mean it's reasons like that why I prefer having mechanics that speed you along, because like I don't want to be incentivized. Like I said, I don't want to be incentivized to stay on the same floor for like half an hour to make sure that I'm min-maxing every single aspect of my run. Maybe if I was like trying to pursue like a max difficulty run, I would want to do that, but I don't mind games that aren't necessarily built around that.
I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is just that you break the pot so fast that it doesn't really inhibit your ability to go fast most of the time. But regardless, we're talking about chunks, but honestly, the more threatening version of chunks is the ghost face. I don't know what like triggers that to show up. It must be like a certain amount of loops or like a difficulty or something, but that thing is way more obnoxious than chunks because you can't hit it, and it doesn't just spawn in the door that you came out of. It can like spawn at what's felt like maybe a random point on the perimeter of the room. I don't know. I didn't get a good feel for it. And no matter what, if it touches you, it will set your HP to 1. So that thing was a pain in the dick. And Chunks was nothing, but that thing was get the fuck out of the floor now moment every time it showed up.
I think it only shows up on painful or higher, so if you're on the normal difficulty, it shows up on loop 1.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Oh, is that how that works? When you loop, it just shoots it up a difficulty?
I think so. I don't know if it'll shoot it
Oh.
up if you don't have the difficulties unlocked or not. I don't know how that works.
It does.
That'd make more sense.
I don't know if it caps out, because I felt like it kept scaling even as I was going through like literally a 10th loop.
I
But
definitely keep
also-
scaling, but
Yeah.
there's certain difficulty things, like the floors get bigger and shit like that.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
difficulties give, and like how fast chunk spawns is difficulty tied and shit like that.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff is tied to difficulty. I just didn't know if the loops scale infinitely, because like I felt like they did, because when I was on like my 10th loop with a character, it felt like stuff was still like getting a little more HP, but also
Yeah.
like no matter what, stuff was still dying in one hit, so I couldn't really tell. But it felt like the floors and stuff were getting bigger, and like they were getting beefier, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
I do have one other major complaint about this game that actually is probably the worst aspect of this game, which is the problem that this game has with what it tries to do with an isometric camera and visual clutter.
And jumping.
Yeah, jumping is awful in an isometric game like this, and it does such a bad job with like the sorting depths that sometimes it just got so fucking hard to tell when my hitbox was actually going to run into something that I wanted to run into, especially as my character was gaining more speed. It was just fucking annoying. Getting trapped like Seth did in a fucking run where he literally had to go back to the main menu and then fucking restart the floor. It was just really messy the way that the game controlled, and that's purely because of perspective and depth and adding that like extra dimension with the jump. And then some of the visual clutter and UI issues just like compounded that. Like the UI of this game is fucking dog shit, fuck trash, to be quite honest with you. Like so many of the menus get obfuscated behind other things just because like the sorting layer for their like pop-up boxes is all fucked up and it goes behind things. So there were so many times I was trying to read the description of an item and it either went off screen or it was hidden behind something. So this game's UI was basically just a piece of shit, and the isometric camera, they went for something that felt sort of novel and sort of unique, but like also there's a reason other games don't do this with isometric cameras, and I felt like this was kind of a case study in that. And yeah, it drove me crazy a lot. It was way too hard to control this game relative to what it should have been.
I liked it. I thought it was sick. I think the only problem with the UI was what you said, was that they put shit behind like the UI elements, like the descriptions weren't on the front. Other than that, I think the UI was perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think your description of it was a little bit overly bad, because I think that there are a lot of good parts of the UI. It's just that the bad parts are like very obvious and very annoying, like what you and Jordan mentioned, and also how when you start getting overlapping lines of items on the bottom of your screen, it starts covering the map.
Yeah,
that was really annoying.
The map is awful. That bottom item screen becomes really tedious once things get too like out of hand.
I like the map. I just don't like that specific annoyance.
No, exactly. Like, there's just a lot of big annoyances in the UI of this game that I cannot possibly call it anything other than bad, to be honest.
I did want to ask you guys one question related to the isometric thing, though. I can't remember the name of the boss, but it looks like a shrimp dinosaur thing. It's either the second or third floor boss, and it has
Is it the one with the green orbs?
Yeah, it rains the green orbs from the ceiling. Did you guys ever have any idea where those were at any point? I had no idea. Like, I know there's the shadows on the floor, but I can never see the fucking angle because the isometric shit is just fucking with my head constantly.
I just made sure I was away from any dangerous looking pixel at like all times, so I wouldn't know. I didn't even try to like engage with those orbs.
I could see them in the very beginning, but once the like circle of bullets like tightened, it was like basically impossible, and I just jumped out of it.
Yeah. And it's the same thing for I think it's in the laboratory level, the 4th level. It has those like blue fucking jawbreaker looking guys that fly down from the ceiling, and you can never see where they're actually going to land unless you see the shadow because of the isometric.
The ones that are tethered to like the umbilical cords?
Yeah.
Yeah, those pissed me off because of that very reason.
Yep.
I just thought they were really annoying because like they were just so obnoxious to hit because it was hard to tell where they were at on like the game's like Z-axis. Fucking irritating.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yep. It sounds like Jordan disagrees. What do you like about it?
I don't know. I think the visual clutter and everything is part of like the difficulty of it, right? Like, you guys say the game's too easy, but then you say like trying to see these things is difficult, and that's where like the difficulty comes from, out of just like the base level of the game. Like, my issue with games like Hollow Knight and everything is that those games feel too fair, and this game didn't feel too fair. It felt like you got hit because you had dumb positioning, and you're trying to make like you're trying to do like dodges in a game that's not built around doing like tight dodges. You just need to like position better overall in the room.
My problem wasn't necessarily like with the visual clutter in the boss fights from that perspective. Because like honestly the game's so fucking easy that like you never really have to dodge boss attacks, to be honest. It was more a function of how difficult it was to actually parse the most basic information on the screen of like, can I read my item? Can I see where I'm at on the fucking map? Can I get to my item descriptions without having to go to the menu in the escape fucking pause menu? Like, it wasn't so much like the stuff in the boss fights, it was just all of like the very basic like information conveyance that was like visual clutter to me. And like, not to mention, like, I mean, the visual clutter aspect of this game, once things got too cluttered, your FPS goes to fucking 2. But like, I don't know, it was more just the failings of the game to like provide me with concise, easily digestible information and constantly fucking that up in ways that was just kind of really obnoxious. Like, I hated when I would have to press M to like shrink my map just so I could see what the fuck was around me, rather than just like keeping it like expanded the entire time. But I can't because I'm on like the 4th floor and now I have 2 rows of items and I can't fucking see anything.
Yeah, I didn't really have any issues with the UIs in that respect. So I also didn't loop more than once ever. I think like 5 loops that would become. I don't even know what that looks like if there's even like a 3rd row of items or what the fuck happens. But yeah,
It gets cut off and you have to start going into the check inventory screen in your pause menu to see what the hell you picked up. Which does become pretty funny once you have like literally 100 items.
Yeah, I still think that like this game just didn't feel like one that was even meant for multiple loops. Like it just doesn't feel like that kind of game where like you're gonna have a build that pops off by the end of the first loop. I think Thomas said that earlier, and I fully agree to the extent that like I don't know. I don't even want to judge the game for some of these qualities because I feel like it's just like not even meant to be played in terms of that like pure honest to goodness like bullet hell shit where like you have a crazy build, the entire room is exploding constantly, dropping your FPS to 2, but every time you have a build like that, it's evaporating everything on the screen. I don't feel like it's meant to run to a point where you can't evaporate everything on the screen. So I have trouble evaluating it on that level, I guess. But
Sure.
yeah, also what Jordan is posting in there, I turned off some of those settings and it was significantly better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
screen
Oh, yeah.
shake is the way that they did
Yeah.
screen shake in this game is a fucking war crime. Like,
Very bad.
I forgot how bad it was until someone mentioned it earlier today. It was the first thing I disabled as soon as I saw it.
yeah, it's just crazy the way they did it because they like bound it to almost everything, including like your regular gunshots from your primary weapon that you have infinite ammo of. That is ridiculous. I feel like if you shake the screen that much, it really should only trigger at times that you're like relatively safe, like you're using a bomb that destroys everything, and or like when you have iframes. But like having it like bound to like a machine gun is just madness to me in a game like this. They just took that like Vlambeer speech way too much.
Yeah, and like I think I've said this before, but anytime I play a game, I'm usually not going to fuck with any settings until I like feel something that makes me need to change something. So for like 90% of my time with this game, I was playing with screen shake. I was playing with all of the visual static that I think the game calls it, and all of that stuff fucking sucked. Like as soon as you get a high fire rate build that also makes all of your projectiles explode, it made me want to throw up. Like this was another game that I'm adding to the list that makes me feel like I have motion sickness, along with Marvel Rivals playing Angela, because like having screen shake on when your build is popping off like that, I just can't look at the screen for more than a minute. I was very glad that the game had a setting to turn that shit off because it probably would have lost a full letter grade if it didn't.
I might have stopped playing it if I couldn't have turned it off. It was like
Yeah.
way too much.
I mean, I do have motion sickness when it comes to screen shake, so I don't play any game with it on if I can turn it off.
Yeah, I don't know. I just always like I just like to see what the developers envisioned with like the default stuff before I change too much. And yeah, what they envisioned with that was unpleasant to say the least.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like it takes a lot for me to actually go into the settings menu. Like pretty much something has to like really actively piss me off and for me to be like, okay, can I turn this shit off because this sucks? But otherwise, I just click new game and just go. I mean, I'll check like graphic settings and shit, but like gameplay stuff, yeah, it's gotta like bug me before I actually go into the settings and see if I can turn something off or change it or whatever. But yeah, that like first instance of screen shake in this game was like, yeah, that's gotta fucking go.
Yeah, like the game felt so different once I actually turned it off. But like for me, yeah, I like it has to bug me, but it also has to bug me for a while because like I will be tenacious with that shit in terms of like just annoying shit that games do. I'm trying to think of an example. Like blueprints, for example. I had never modded the game like some of you guys did to give you like faster walk speed and stuff like that. Like I want to play it how the developers intended it. And like if what I need to do in order to alleviate that feeling is not within the confines of the game itself, I'm just not going to be happy with it, you know?
Yeah, and I mean to be fair, it's also pretty much the same for me. Like I didn't do that with blueprints until I'd played the game for like fucking 20 or 25 hours or something. So
Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in these topics we want to go through. How did you guys feel about the music? I thought it was pretty dang good.
Oh, music in this game's great.
Yeah, there's some tunes for sure, and it's got that like roguelike repetition where it's got the brainworms for me to actually remember what they sound like, and I could even remember what like the one that I remember the most is actually the shop, because it's just a pleasant little tune that like it evokes the feeling in me that I know that no harm will come to me in this room, and I like that a lot.
This song is the most cracked tune in the entire game, in my opinion, and that is the True Ending Zone song, the one-way exit song. That song is so fucking sick.
I actually think the song for the very first floor is also fucking sick.
Yeah, I don't think there's really like bad choices of music in the game. I think the main melody that they have for the game is like really good and really catchy, kind of like what Ben said, because the shop uses the main melody.
And I feel like I missed so much because I bet like there's so many songs I just didn't hear just straight
There's
up.
a lot.
Yeah, there's like over 60.
Who did the soundtrack? Was this like a team, or this couldn't have been a solo dev game? I wouldn't believe that.
It's not solo, but it's not big. It's somewhere in between.
Did someone like do the soundtrack, or did they just do it in house? And by someone, I mean like someone like known.
Their name is Major Wipeout.
Yeah, it's a particular like sound font or whatever that I think is really good and fits the game nicely.
Yeah, it seems like it's someone who just works for that company or works with that team, because they did 3 of their games.
I think we've hit a lot in here already. There were some questions about the narrative. I actually think that the way they present the narrative in this game is quite good.
Yeah, I actually agree for the most part. Like Jordan mentioned in the notes, it's definitely a game where like it just gives you like the Street Fighter story, basically, where you just choose a character and you just get like the bare minimum that you need before you just go and press buttons. And I think like I don't think that categorically that's like the superior way to tell stories. Like if you've got the chops and you want to tell like an intricate story, like I wouldn't want someone to not make a Disco Elysium or an Expedition 33, because like it's just better just to make like an arcade style experience. Like it's just not categorically true, but I think in practicality it is actually true for like 99% of developers, where they really should just leverage their strengths, stay away from stories, just put the story in the bag, hold the dialogue, and you're good to go.
Yeah, like the visual storytelling that it has with every new character that you get and their cinematic, I thought is like really, really solid, like better than I would expect from this kind of game. But I was also pretty surprised that it kind of goes an extra level. Like you get a little bit of lore about like the family. Uh, like Cordelia is partners with Fuji. Like some of what the dad was up to, the fact that Chunks is like their pet rat or whatever. It all kind of like meshes together pretty well, I feel like.
I think it was like a masterclass in like a simple story, but like told in an interesting and like quick way. Like everything gets conveyed to you very quickly, and like at no point was I like, oh god, someone's talking to me again, or like hurry the fuck up or anything like that. Like when I saw a cutscene, it was always just like, oh cool, and like I just thought the whole thing was cool.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like there's not a lot of meat on the bones, right? Like there's pretty much nothing there story-wise. Like there's just enough that it has a story, but there's also enough there that it doesn't do what Hades 2 does and like constantly get in its own way and like annoy the shit out of you. So I thought it was fine. I'm not big on it. I'm not low on it. I thought the character designs were cool. I thought some of the way that they like puzzle pieced some of the different elements together was fine. But yeah, I mean, basically it is just kind of like a Street Fighter deal, like Ben said.
Also, just want to give a quick shout out because I was looking at the store page while we were talking about this with the Steam trailer that goes on, and there's a cinematic part of the Steam trailer that reminded me of the cinematic trailer for Off, and the one for Dead Estate is actually like accurate to the gameplay of the game, so I appreciate that. I'm just gonna throw some shade at Off real quick.
It's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I think I think the story is like close to perfect for like what a roguelike should do, because like Tom said, like it doesn't constantly like get in your way and you're not being annoyed. But while you're doing a run or anything, like you go into shop as Fuji and Cordelia is all like, it's like, what's up? And it's like it's quick interactions, and yeah, it's very cartoony and doesn't get in its own way, doesn't take itself too seriously, and I think it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's like I think that it's like it's a good balance between something like Slay the Spire and Hades 2, where Slay the Spire is like yeah, there's like a story here, but what the fuck is going on? And then Hades 2, where it's more of a nuisance than anything else.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it strikes like a happy balance between the two. I would rather things err more on the side of Slay the Spire than Hades 2, like I would say, in a game
Yeah,
like
for
this.
these games,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because like,
Yeah.
and this is a problem with like my generation where people like me, the millennials, are like old enough to make games. We are making most of these games and we are creating most of the problems. So like one of the biggest turnoffs and the fastest way to get me to uninstall is exposing me to like that millennial writing style. So that's why I really just suggest for like a lot of developers just to just stay away from dialogue if you can.
Yeah, yeah. I think this is a quintessential. This is how games that are like game first should do stories.
Yeah, it does not get in the way of itself at all. And I think that even if you're the kind of gamer that's just going to skip cutscenes, like there's also still plenty in the game to
Yep.
engage you a little
Yeah.
bit. Like you are missing something, but it's not replaceable with what is in the actual gameplay, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, like I skipped a lot of cutscenes because I'll be honest, I thought they were repeating until I figured out that they weren't. And I still felt like I had like a pretty clear picture of like at least who the characters were and what like was going on, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think to Ben's point, I actually do really agree with that. Like I think a real problem, especially in like the solo dev world or like the like very small team world, is too many people fancy themselves writers when they're not. And so like I think it's important to play to your strengths, like Ben was saying. And honestly, like if you don't already consider yourself a halfway decent writer, like writing a fuck ton of dialogue for a video game and then putting that shit up for $20 on Steam is not the time to figure out if you are a good or a bad writer. Because, like, frankly, a lot of games like this do end up with dialogue that should have just been fucking shift deleted out of the Unity project folder.
Yeah, I'm like, quite frankly, in a game like this where you're picking up items that just say hee hee poop and you pick up a weapon that like shoots out racial slurs at people or whatever, not actually racial slurs, but like insults at people. I think you've kind of precluded yourself from having a halfway decent story that I can take seriously. And I think this game does a really good job of balancing the fact that it's self-aware of itself with that stuff with also maintaining a halfway decent story. And I think a really smart decision as well is that like the true climax of the game is in that fucking dream sequence, which and any other game I would say is fucking dumb and stupid. But the fact that it's able to kind of separate itself from the rest of the game and maybe not take itself entirely seriously, but like present itself in this new manner and then have cutscenes at the very end that are completely separate from the rest of the story, essentially. I think all of that is a really smart decision for the final
Yeah.
update.
Agreed, big time. I also think naming the first level of the dream thing, not like a reference to like there is no cow level or secret cow level or something, was nice too. Because every time someone makes a level like that, they always have to mention that shit, and it always annoys me every time.
Wait, what's the name again?
You know, like the first level of the Awakening ending. I think it's just the dream. It has the aesthetic of Diablo 3, like the secret cow level
Oh, I see
style
what you're
aesthetic.
saying. Yeah.
But they didn't say that, even though that's like kind of what it is.
Yeah, it's exactly like the it's actually like a carbon copy of the Diablo 3. Oh god, I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah,
It's
the
like
pony
Mimsy
thing.
Land or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest strengths of this game is the fact that like for a game that is as like egregiously fucking gooned up as this game is, like they did show a lot of restraint in areas that they should have. So I think like a big plus of this game is they really, really knew where to lean into those strengths and where to just like throw their hands up in the air and say fuck it.
Yeah.
Agreed. Were there any other big topics you guys wanted to get to before we do ratings? I know that we're only an hour in, but we're kind of slamming through this stuff.
I think the sound effects of this game were great, and of course, like they were all made probably in like BXFR or something because it's all like chiptune sounds, but it's like they're really, really good sounds. Like the explosion sound and shit was all really, really good. I think.
Oh yeah, one of my favorite items in the game is I think it's just the item called poop that just turns your gunshots into poop
Yeah.
sounds. This is great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's like an Isaac thing for me. So when I saw that, it's just like, yeah, because obviously Isaac loves its shit. So
I'm not sure if this was like a fever dream or not, but I don't remember seeing an item called poo, but I remember seeing an item called fake poo, I think.
Yeah,
Is that
I think
Yeah,
that's
this
what
that's
game?
what it's called. Yeah,
Oh,
that's what
okay.
it's called. And I think all that it does, I don't know if it has any actual gameplay effects, is just when you attack, it just goes.
yeah,
If it doesn't have an effect in the subfloor with the toilet, then this game has gone down into the negatives.
But yeah, I do agree. I think everything related to sound, everything related to art in this game was like very much like a hit.
Mhm.
All the pixel art's amazing, all the music's amazing, all the sound effects are amazing.
Yeah, and especially from like an art design standpoint, big shout out to the second level of the Awakening route, like where it's like kind of all like reimaginings of a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
the enemies in the base game. I thought that the design of all of that was really cool. It really stood out, very memorable.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean that whole route, the whole Awakening route, I think is like the coolest part of the game by far.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the enemies in there were really fucking annoying, though. Oh my god.
By the time I got there, I was so fucking strong. I just held left click and everything died. Even the bosses.
My problem was my second best build didn't actually, I guess third best build didn't actually scale enough to do the full Awakening route because I got a bunch of items that make me shoot faster and give more projectiles, but my bullets deal like half damage, and apparently that shit rounds down because all my bullets started doing 0 damage.
That's funny.
There were so many numbers on my screen, but they were all 0.
Oh yeah, another big shout out I want to give to this game is to from a sound perspective is the voice actress for Cordelia. Like she fucking knocked it
Yeah.
out of the park. I thought
Also true.
a lot of the voice acting in this game actually like punched above its weight, I thought, but Cordelia in particular, like even though there's obviously no like long diatribe dialogue sequences or like major long cutscenes or whatever, like all of the like various little one-liners that she says throughout the game are fucking awesome. And I think, if memory serves, I could be wrong, but I think I read that the same voice actress is also the voice actress for Diavola. And that fucking scream that she does and the phase transition
yeah.
from 1 to 2 is like, holy shit.
Blood curdling.
Yeah, fucking crazy. So yeah, shout outs to her. Katarina C, I think. What is it? I have it up. Yeah, Katarina C. Shout outs to you.
Has she done anything else?
Probably not.
No, she's done some other stuff, just not stuff that you would recognize, probably. She has 4 credits to her name. The first is 5 Nations, and then Dead Estate, and then Metaghost, The Breaking Show, and then Lone Soul. I think isn't Lone Soul the new game from these dudes? I think that's right.
No idea.
But
Oh,
regardless,
yeah, I mean-
not anything I'm familiar with anyway.
I mean, full agreed with her performance, though. Like, I'm just thinking back to some of the lines that she said, and yeah, I mean, you hear them a couple times, so they're going to be more memorable. But I remember exactly how she says, like, when you go to the doctor office one, and she's like, "Hello," like that. All of those are very memorable, very good.
Yeah,
I also thought that was sick that she's all the shopkeepers. I think that's funny.
yeah,
And
that
then
is
it-
a good bit.
And then it changes when you're playing Cordelia,
That's her
and then it's
mom.
your mom.
Yeah, that I thought was fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's a good touch for sure.
All right, well, you guys want to do ratings?
Yeah, sure.
Let's get chaotic with it. We'll go Jordan, Ben, Thomas, me.
Yeah, I think this game's sick. Kind of for all the reasons that we mentioned, and something that we didn't mention was that I'm kind of sick of pick three roguelike games like Hades and everything, like where you give me three options for everything, and I miss like the Isaac style of where it's just like you get what you're given and then you choose to take it or not. And I think that that's kind of like a style that I kind of hope gets more popular because pick three is boring as hell to me now. But I mean, besides that, like everything we mentioned, the game's pretty sick. I think the weakest part is probably the gameplay, and even then, it's not that weak. It's just a little shallow compared to the other games of the genre. So, yeah, I think Cordelia is a super fantastic character, and they leaned into everything in the right way. So for me, it's a 8.5.
Points.
Oh my
Damn.
god. Mind meld.
Oh, good.
Nice.
And again, I think that was the highest I've ever rated Jordan. And I got it. Ben, you're up.
Yeah, so I would rate this game a 7.5 out of 10, and I don't think that's a fair score because I feel like I missed a lot of this game, especially the way that you guys described it. It sounds like I basically just didn't even really play the game at all. And to that point, and to give this game a lot of credit, I'm going to leave it installed on my ROG Ally because, like, it sounds so cool that I probably do want to experience it eventually. Maybe not like right now, but like when I'm just not playing anything else. And the game play loop is so simple that like I'm not worried about like not being able to get back into it because it's just really fucking easy to do. So it's probably a game where when I give it the second chance, like my score, at least in my mind, will definitely improve probably because like everything you guys described just sounds like a really cool game that I just didn't really get to experience because I just didn't do it.
Yeah.
I didn't put in the work.
Yeah, and if you beat the game with the first three characters, like you're honestly probably only a few hours away from getting the awakening ending. And I actually do really recommend going back and doing it. Like I think it's legitimately really fun.
Yeah, I think the climax of this game is better than the climax of Isaac, just in terms of like a boss. Like it's super sick with what they do with it.
Yeah, the final boss is really cool.
All right, Thomas, your go.
Yeah. I did really like this game. There were some like pretty major flaws that we talked about already. I think that the way that they introduce the z-axis with the isometric camera and the way that they do depth sorting in this game is like a real fucking mess that drove me crazy way more often than I would have liked. I did think that the way that a lot of the runs tended to kind of converge into playing out very similarly was kind of a downside, but like even regardless of that, playing through the game to get to that convergence point was still like fun every single time, and it never felt like you really got there the same way even if the end result was the same, so everyone run still felt like pretty unique. So um, I actually did quite enjoy my time with this game, even in spite of like what I thought were some like pretty decently big flaws. But at the end of the day, this game was just like fucking fun. And like I mentioned before, like my big problem with a game like Isaac was just that like it was way too overwhelming for me to come into that game after fucking like 10 years or whatever of development time and iteration that game had. So by the time that I fucking walk in the door with like my fucking toddler boots on and not knowing anything about the game, it was just like I felt like I got priced out just by not having 10 years worth of knowledge. But this game, even though it still has a lot of content, felt so easy to just pick up and play, and every run felt fun, and every character had a unique identity that made them like fun to play in their own way. Um, I liked that not only did every character have its own unique identity in a gameplay perspective, but they also had their own unique identity in terms of like the narrative of the game, which again is very thin. But I think Ben's comparison to Street Fighter is very apt, where every character has like a very, very, very like discrete aesthetic that makes them very much their own character, and that's always something that is like a strong plus in a game, especially like this. Music was awesome. Art was awesome. Um, I think if they had maybe like literally just removed the jump button, I think I would have liked this game a lot more. But as it stands, I think it's still a very solid 8 out of 10.
God damn, I'm mind melded.
Nice.
Damn, I was close enough, I guess, but yeah, you were on it, Seth.
Except with you. I wonder if I would have been right if you did the full
Yeah,
the full
I
route.
think, yeah, because like the way you guys described it, it sounds sick as fuck.
It definitely like increased my opinion of the game quite a bit.
Yeah,
overall.
for sure. I think this game would have been in like the 6.5, 7 territory if I had stopped after the Cordelia run. But yeah,
Yeah. I was actually gonna say because I played this game on launch, and I feel like Ben actually more or less experienced what I experienced on launch, which is like a decent game, but one that doesn't really like it isn't really like spectacular in any particular area. It's kind of just there, and it's like kind of fun, and but like at the end of the day, it's kind of forgettable. I think on launch, I probably would have given this game like a 5.5 or a 6, maybe. But I think that the extra time in the oven for this game definitely paid off. Uh, we've been comparing so many games to Mimic Logic, and I feel like this game is still there for me. Where like this game is trying to do one very particular thing, and it's not particularly like innovative or crazy in what it's doing with that thing. You know, the roguelike bullet hell shmup style game. And that kind of game is very fun, but I think in a game like that, I would like a little bit more replayability. I would like a little bit more depth to the builds. So I don't think it's in the camp of Mimic Logic where it's like going to be the best game at exactly what it's doing, and it also isn't doing much more than that to make me like have a reason to love it past that. I think there's a lot to love in this game for sure. Like I can definitely see how we played this game, and Thomas rated it an 8 and Jordan rated it an 8.5. I definitely see all of that. But I think for me, one thing I didn't get into is I experienced a lot of bugs in like the 10 hours or so I played for playing it for this podcast. Like I actually got really confused when I first got to the boss of the old set, I think the level is called. It's just like the big white ball. The dude got stuck when he did the like dash from left to right mechanic, and he just wouldn't move. And my game hard locked, and I couldn't do anything because he just sat there and wouldn't move. Thomas mentioned that I got stuck behind furniture once and had to go and reset the level from the main menu. Like there were weird collisions happening all of the time. Like I just couldn't move past certain objects, or shit would just fly off the screen for no reason. Just a lot of random bugs that like don't like they kind of bothered me in the moment. Like maybe they're not big deals, but it does reflect, I think, a certain level of polish that uh you know stands to show that there are things that could be improved. And I think for those reasons, I'm going to give this game a 7.5. Great game, very fun, could still use some improving.
I'm just going to point out I guessed an 8 out of 10 for everyone, and I also rated the game an 8 out of 10, and I think I got points for everyone. Yeah, this game does actually kind of make me want to go back and try out Isaac, because I do think that like an extra layer of complexity stapled on top of this game would have made it a lot more interesting than it already is. Um, and this game was just like flat out fun, honestly. It felt like really arcadey in the best kind of way.
Yeah, I think Isaac's a better game, but this has better things around it than Isaac does. Like the music of Isaac's fine, but like the aesthetic of this game, I like the story of this game more than Isaac, and kind of like all like the funny ha-has that this game does compared to Isaac. I think Isaac's a better like gameplay game though.
I think it's also worth mentioning that this game is like a really good homage to a lot of its inspirations. Like it's got Resident Evil in there, both between how Chunks functions and also like Cordelia, Valentine, like the entire family's estate is Valentine and stuff like that. I think does a good job of showing that inspiration on its
Yeah.
sleeve.
Yeah, there's a lot to like about this game. I think they did a really good job. I don't know anything about the studio, but if this was like one of their first couple outings in the game dev universe, they did a really fucking good job for sure.
I think it's like their 5th or 6th game, but they were all Flash games before this one. This one's technically started as a Flash game, but yeah.
Yeah, I think all of the little tips that come up that says like play Big B5 or whatever, I think those are all their old games when it has those tooltips.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Also, we never shared our favorite Steam reviews, but I had this one queued up. I thought it was good. It just says in all caps, incredible game. Wonderful work, Milk Bar lads. There is a lot of salavage, though. My friends called me a gooner. 10 out of 10.
81 hours is crazy.
On a similar note, I also found a Steam review that was actually there were many Steam reviews that had this exact text. That is, it's just an ASCII representation of the booba emote.
My favorite part is I saw that when I was looking at the Steam reviews, and I had to scroll down to see what it actually was.
Oh shit, that's funny.
Yeah, I think you guys know what my favorite one was, but I'm not gonna read it out. Ben, you can flash it on the screen for the degens in here that agree with it. Yeah, my God.
Oh, was it the woke
Yeah,
one?
that guy did a lot of yapping to say like absolutely nothing of any intrinsic value.
Calling Fuji masculine coded or whatever is so funny to me. Like, I like, oh my God, she has abs. But like, she's got massive fucking titties. Like, come on.
Oh, I thought he was talking about Boss, but either way, like I feel like that
Yeah,
dude was
I mean,
like
Boss
6
has big
years too
titties
late
too,
with
but
that
yeah.
review.
Fucking chud's gonna chud. That's all I have to say about that.
Oh yeah. Well, I know the name of our next game, but I actually don't know who picked it. Anyone want to do a
Ben
little
picked it.
intro? A little teaser?
Yeah,
if
tell
you
me
will?
about this game. I bought it today, I installed it, but I don't know anything about it.
Okay, so the game is called Paradise Killer. It is a first-person open-world murder mystery game that is very systematic, and that might not make sense now, but I think it'll make more sense when you play the game. And it is extremely
Uh-oh.
postmodern, and I primarily picked it because I bought it way back when in a Humble Bundle sale, and I just looked at my backlog and was like, well, might as well work on my backlog. We gotta play games for Tash. I'm just gonna kill two birds with one
Is it
stone.
like a full-on visual novel, or like I couldn't really tell looking at the Steam page?
I got like a
Have you played
vibe that it was
Danganronpa?
like, yeah, that is exactly what I was thinking.
What? I didn't hear.
It's a lot like Danganronpa.
Yeah, I can see that. I read I read a Steam forum post in the games, like a Steam forums. You can edit that to make it sound way less retarded, but I read something in there that cracked me the fuck up, and it made me rethink some other games that I might consider playing. There was a person in the Steam forums that said that this game plays a lot like Pathologic.
A combination of Pathologic and Danganronpa. Okay, sure. I'm on board.
Yeah, and Pathologic is a game that I gave literally zero chance to. I uninstalled it really fucking quickly.
Yeah, that's not a game I could ever see you in any universe playing ever.
With all that being said, that's an episode. GG. Next week, Paradise Killer.
Adios, biatches.